finally getting better for the market, which is nice. Is it too early to call it? Yes. I think this week will be busy. There are still a lot of talks about taxes and the trade war. I think this is the week that the next big wave to the upside will start. If things get better in the trade war and good deals are made, I also have a lot more to say. We have a lot of information to go over, and some of it is about how a supply shock will really hit the space. So take it easy and welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe near the end of the video. The market has been pretty good overall. In fact, crypto has had a pretty good week lately, which is nice to see after such a rough month. The month is a pretty bright red color, but it's nice to see some green. I'll take any kind of green right now. Also, you should know that XRP has been doing a great job of recovering from its recent lows of around $2.00 and $5.00. This is how the last month looks. We did go below $2.00 the beginning of the month, from about $160.00 to over $2.00 since then. We hit about $222.00 in the middle of April, but right now we're at about $212.00. I'm writing this a little early in the day. Also, I've been looking at trading volume, and all of it is up about 68%. In addition, the number of trades is going up, which is great. The total value of all cryptocurrencies is now $2.75 trillion, 0 cents. We can see that the number of trades on Bitcoin is up about 3.5%, and the number of trades on Ethereum is up about 86%. That's a nice win. 24 hours looks like in terms of some of. Also, let's talk about XRP some more. Some of my attention has been on fiat leak, and I'm just interested in seeing how much XRP is being traded and getting some information from that. You should also know that a lot of XRP has been bought up, and the number of wallets and addresses that hold XRP has grown. Thanks a lot for the growth, XRP Daily. We now have 6.2 million XRP addresses, which is the most ever. Each of these addresses holds at least one XRP chart. If we look at the trading volume of many cryptocurrencies over the last 30 days, we can see that XRP alone has seen over 76 trades, which is almost $77 billion trades. Over $700 billion worth of trades have happened in the last 30 days, which shows that there is a lot of activity in this area. Some people trade with fixed coins, but a lot of people trade in general. If you really think about it, you should know how much Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and other major cryptocurrencies are traded. For example, Tether, $3.00. 6 trillion worth of trades, which means there has been a lot of pressure to sell in this area. There is still a lot of pressure to buy though, so the place is still very much alive. I bring up trading volume because I know a lot of people are wondering, is everyone out of this space at this point? Are stores just staying away from crypto? Is there really still someone in this space? It's great to see that there are still a lot of people trading in this room 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. XRP is a big part of the trade volume, and there's still a lot going on with it. As for Bitcoin, I've been focusing on it for the past month, and we're now back to those important levels from the end of March that we did reject, going down to about $75,000, 0 cents is what I'm really paying attention to on the chart. To break through these highs, we would need to get to almost $90, 0 cents. I think the next goal should be $95, 0 cents, or $96, 0 cents. And if we can hit that more than 100, 0 cents. I already said this might be the start. If taxes and trade talks go well this week, it could be the week that everything changes in crypto, which is what I've been sad about for the past few days. Also, what about the Bitcoin that is still on exchanges? I saw a post on X that turned out to be from Martini Guy on YouTube. It will have the largest amount of all exchange reserves ever seen. There will be a supply shock. Let's talk about this when we have time. To begin, there was a supply shock. Is Bitcoin going to have a supply shock? Let's just call it Bitcoin. I do think that the supply measures are very important to pay attention to, because Supply and demand are obviously linked because Bitcoin's value to go up by a lot. To find out, let's go back to January 2024. If you look at this chart and zoom in on the period for January 24, you can see what our trading levels were at that time. Yes, Bitcoin's value briefly rose to around $50,000 at the beginning of January. That's when we heard the news and the talk regarding the ETF we sold. If you look at the exchange funds after that sell-off, they kept going down while we kept going up to almost $73,000, 0 cents. During the whole sell-off from the beginning of March through the summer, September, October, and November, the exchange funds went down. That big jump to $100,000, 0 cents or more, was caused by a drop in prices. Prices have been going from over $100, 0 cents, to around $7 million, 0 cents. We can tell that something big is going to happen with Bitcoin because of that huge flood of exchange funds. That's also why I think now is one of the best times to focus on Bitcoin's power. I think this will lead to alt season, and the next big push to move on Bitcoin will be when Ethereum and other old coins start to take market share away from Bitcoin. I also think this is when XRP starts to surprise a lot of people. Next, what else is causing the big rise in Bitcoin prices besides the exchange reserves? That's right. The Fed is printing money. A lot of people have asked me for money. Nick, what makes you think this will happen? You should know that it has already started to print in China, Japan, and the EU. Something like this was already written by Marty Party. We have news about world liquidity. There is more M2 money in circulation in China. Japan and the EU have all started printing money. The question is, where is the Federal Reserve? Let's start with the Fed. We've already talked about the M2 quantity in Bitcoin. So why do I keep talking about it? Because it already tells us that Bitcoin is about to go through its next big rise, and we have enough money saved up. The M2 quantity is already going up outside of the US, which is also what causes real inflation. Since this is from Anthony Pompiano, we know that this is true. As of now, inflation is 1.4%, which is a lot less than the Fed's goal. Real inflation is 1.42. Based on that, the Fed should lower interest rates right now. If the Fed lowers interest rates and the M2 supply in the US starts to rise a lot of money will flood these markets. I've been talked about this for a few weeks now because I believe it will happen. You may say, but we can't just use what other countries like China do. Japan and the EU are working to support this case, but I don't believe them. Why can't we be in the same position in 2020 or even 2016? This has happened many times before when China, the EU, and Japan have worked together. Japan needs to print money. There is no doubt that the Federal Reserve will do the same. Right now is a great time for them to make money because of low inflation rates. There is also no better time to put new money on the market than now. The market still needs more money because stocks are going down. Now is a great time to buy. Rate cuts by the Fed at the May FOMC meeting rose